Hello, and I've got the top 8 stickiest cards for you guys. What do I mean by sticky cards? Well, back in the day, cards that couldn't be destroyed by battle, such as Marshmelon, was a fan favorite that really stuck to the battlefield. Or how about those cards that kept recurring themselves over and over from the graveyard? You couldn't get rid of it, like Gizmekaruchi. By banishing 8 cards from the top of your deck, you were able to special summon him every time. Well, those cards were maybe good back in 2000, but now we've got evolved cards, such as these illusion monsters that can't be destroyed by battle. Or what about cards that come from the graveyard, like Promethean Princess? Really hard to get rid of, and really stick to the battlefield unless we do something about it. And that's what this video is about, 8 cards you need to know that are going to really stick to the battlefield. Let's jump right in. Starting off at number 8. We're going to start nice and simple with a fan favorite, and that would be Spacian Grand Mole, right? This card, at the start of the damage step, if it battles an opponent's monster, return both monsters to the hand without damage calculation. What does that mean? Well, that just means, and here, let me just make it bigger for those people on mobile that really just want to look at this. Let me just show you the pros and cons of this card and why this card is so sticky, right? So this card has a damage step effect, which means its pro is a damage step effect, which means you can't really, it's very hard to dodge. Only certain cards can be activated during the damage step. It gives it a lot of protections. It's also back to the hand. It sends both cards back to the hand, which means it's really hard to get rid of because at the end of the turn, it goes back to your hand. So that's what really makes it sticky, because it comes out, it's really like a mole. It goes back to the hand, goes out, everybody goes back to the hand, boop, and so he's really popping in and out like the mole he is, you know? And also it's searchable because it's a Spacian card. The thing that just makes this card bad and why it's number 8 on the list is just because it's really slow. So, let's go into the next one. Coming in at number 7, well, we have the eye in the sky, baby. It's none other than Jet Dragon, Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, right? This card is disgusting because other cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. In fact, you can only use each of the following effects of Blue Eyes Jet Dragon once per turn. You can only activate them if Blue Eyes himself is in your field or your graveyard. If a card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this Blue Eyes from your graveyard if it was destroyed, or your hand if it's not in the graveyard. At the start of the damage step, if it battles, you can target a card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So basically, Grand Mole on steroids. And let me go over the pros and cons of this card too. Again, it gives you the protection destruction effect for all your other cards. So really, not only is he coming back, recurring himself, but he's also making all the other cards really sticky by giving them that protection effect. He's got the damage step effect like Grand Mole, and he brings the people back to the hand. Again, I talked about how strong that was. And he's summoned. When any card is destroyed, he'll come back from the grave over and over again. The reason why this powerful card is at number 7 is because you have to run Blue Eyes White Dragon, the original, or a card that's named Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard, because Blue Eyes White Dragon needs to be on the field, or the graveyard, sorry, it needs to be live. Blue Eyes can be on the field. That's what makes it live, and because you have to play Blue Eyes, that makes Jet Dragon significantly weaker. But this would be a very powerful card without that clause. Probably one of the strongest cards in the game. In at number 6, we've got fan favorite, Eldlich the Golden Lord. Yes, you see, you could send this card and one spell and trap from your hand to the graveyard, then target one card on the field, send it to the graveyard. So already some good removal. But what makes it recurring and that stickiness to it, if this card is in your graveyard, you can send a spell and trap you control to the graveyard, add the Eldlich to your hand, then special summon a zombie monster from your hand. And if you do, till the end of your opponent's turn, Eldlich gains 1,000 attack and defense, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only use that effect of Eldlich once per turn. So again, he cannot be destroyed by card effects when you do that ability. That's the pros. 3,500 attack when you use that graveyard summon ability. So very strong, potent. The only thing that stops this recurring every turn over and over and over again is it requires sending the spell and trap. So that's why it's there. Similarly, this spot could have gone to a number of other cards too that have a very similar effect. So I'm going to cover all of these cards here too, might as well. These cards weren't impactful, consistent, too situational, or they're reliant on, the field or continuous spells. So that's why these cards here didn't take that spot. Or also the Horus cards here can really go there too, reliant on the sarcophagus cards, and they just keep coming back over and over. So any of those spots really, or any of those cards also could have taken this spot, but I went with the fan favorite Eldlich. Coming in at number 5. At number 5, we've got the red hot standby phase king, Sacred Phoenix of Nephesis. Maybe if it was 2000s. Since then, that card has evolved and is now the Cerulean Sacred Phoenix of Nephesis. That'd go to the number 2010. Oh, talking 2024. The king of the standby phase goes to none other than the Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Fire King Snake Eyes, right, runs this card. What does it do? Well, during the next standby phase, after this card is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon it from the graveyard, and when you do that, destroy all other monsters on the field. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Fire King monster from your deck. Interesting. So, returns in the standby phase when it's destroyed. That's why it's the king, the Fire King of these effects. You could trigger that effect yourself, and of course, when it comes back, it's destroying all other monsters. That's why this takes the cake and it goes to this spot. Thinking back on it, the standby phase king, as much as I would love to put the Fire King guy there, the standby phase king has to go to Destiny Hero, Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer. I gave it a little thought. And why? Well, that's because, first of all, this card makes other monsters your opponent's control boost 200 for each hero in your graveyard. Okay, that's a nice little effect. Here's what it is. You can only use these effects once per turn. You could destroy one card on each side of the field, and if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon a Destiny Hero monster during the next standby phase. So, it's a quick effect. Destroy one card on each side. The quick effect is so beneficial. Next, that opponent loses attack, which is pretty good. And it's got to be destroyed to stick, which is a negative, but you could turn that negative into a positive because Destiny Hero, Phoenix, and Enforcer can destroy itself with its own effect. And also, the cards that you could send to the graveyard when you fuse and make this card from Destiny Fusion, one of them is banned because it's so good. So this card, I think, really is the king because it can generate so much advantage when all of these unbanned cards come into effect. Coming in at number 4. Not every spot goes to a monster. In fact, if this was in the 2000s, this spot would go to Titansider, this trap card that keeps recurring itself over and over and negates extra deck monsters and then comes back when an extra deck monster goes on the field. But you know what? Trap cards have gotten better and better, and these recurring trap cards that really make sticks to the field that keep coming back, the spot has to go to none other than Welcome Labrynth. Yes, Welcome Labrynth, because Welcome Labrynth keeps summoning itself over and over and over. And how does it do that? Well, first let me explain what it does. Special summon a Labrynth monster from your deck. You get locked into Fiend monsters until the end of your next turn. And then, if a monster leaves the field by your trap card effect while Welcome Labrynth is in the graveyard, you get to set Welcome Labrynth to the graveyard, except the turn that it was sent to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Welcome Labrynth once per turn. So as long as it's not the turn it was sent there, you could bring it back. So it keeps recurring itself over and over through, summon, return, summon, return, summon, return, over and over and over. Again, it recurs when the monster leaves the field to your trap cards. And it generates extreme advantage if this domino effect keeps happening. Extreme advantage, basically by turn. If this happens more than 3 times, you probably lost a duel. The disadvantage to this card, though, is it can be ashed. So, to prevent that special summon. So, by ashing it, you could probably slow it down and prevent you have basically a one-stop shop. And since ash is so popular, really stopping that can put a damper on the strategies if they don't have follow-up plays. But that's why this card gets the number 4 spot for stickiness. And the third sticky card goes to number 3. None other, and this card is insanely sticky, probably the stickiest card I own. Dark Magician Girl. This card is especially sticky because No, I was, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't gonna say that. No. Just let me cook. Please, just let me cook. All right, thank you. Okay, sorry about that. As I was saying, the number 3 spot goes to Dark Magician Girl's mentor, Dark Magician. And why is this? Well, because when you combined it with the card Eternal Soul, here's what happens. You get your Dark Magician cards unaffected by your opponent's cards. Also, every turn, you could bring a Dark Magician from your graveyard that's in your graveyard or your hand, special summon it to the field. So on your turn, get one from as long as Eternal Soul's out, get one from your hand or graveyard on the field. On your opponent's turn, you get one. The only thing is, the disadvantage is if Eternal Soul is destroyed, you lose everything. Again, it's unaffected by card effects. Your Dark Magician, great. Your Dark Magician unaffected by card effects, super strong. It can special the Dark Magician every turn. Disgusting. But the thing is, you have to protect Eternal Soul at all costs. Otherwise, if it's destroyed, and it leaves the field, you destroy all the monsters you control. So, thinking back on it, Dark Magician and Eternal Soul shouldn't get this spot. This spot probably belongs to any Towers monsters. All of these Tower monsters are unaffected by card effects. And that makes them extremely sticky because they're hard to get off of the field. So, I can make probably a top 10 video about Towers monsters, but instead I'm just going to give you which one I think is the best Towers monster. And that would have to be a certain card that when you use Right Hand Shark, or you use Astral Kriebel's effect to make himself a level 4, basically a level 4, one of these monsters with another one makes it unable to be destroyed by battle. And when you combine it and make the level 4 Crooked Cook, you got a card that is unable to be destroyed by battle. So by using either Karibo or the Right Hand Shark, you get this can't be destroyed by battle, and it's unaffected by card effects, as long as this is the only card you control, right? If Crooked Cook's the only card you control, it's unaffected by card effects and can't be destroyed by battle if you use the Right Hand Shark or Astral Karibo that you made level 4. That means the only way really to win is if it only loses to a Kaiju, Underworld Goddess, piercing damage, or deck out. And the strategies that use Cook is really like your Exodia strategies. You could deck out the opponent yourself. So many strong strategies you could do with Cook. But again, I digress. I think that's the strongest Tower monster you could make. So, unaffected by card effects, I think Crooked Cook takes a spot. Coming in at number 2, we've got one of my favorite cards, and I think this card's going to be a menace in the future. It just doesn't have the right deck really to use it yet. But here, take a look at this. Machina Citadel. Machina Citadel cannot be normal summoned or set, but is special summoned by a card effect. Here's what's so cool about this. If a face-up Earth Machine monster, except Machina Citadel, is destroyed by card effect while Machina Citadel is in the graveyard, you can special summon it. And when Machina is special summoned, you get the option to use this quick effect ability. You target a machine monster you control, which could be itself, destroy it, and all other monsters your opponent controls with less attack than it or equal to it is destroyed. So it's basically a 3,000 attack wipe every turn. Again, it's got a quick effect mass wipe. Insane. And it's summoned when any Earth Machine card is destroyed while Machina Citadel is in the graveyard. The only thing is, this is for Earth Machine's archetype. There's not that many good Earth Machine's archetype. But, you know, we have Year of the Fire, Year of the Light, Year of the Water, etc., etc. When Earth Machines get their time in the sun again, I'm calling it 2027, 2026 in the future, this card is going to be menace. This card will be a menace in the future. It's already disgusting right now. It just needs the right archetype to it. Anyways, let's keep on moving on. The number one card, number one sticky card. Before I get to it, I want to give you some honorable mentions. And that has to go to these three cards here, which I couldn't really find a spot to go to. I have UFO Light, which is an illusion monster, and Huli the Jewel Mekanko. Those two cards I want to address first on the ends. And basically, the Mekanko, when it has an equipped card to it, or the UFO Light, they both can't be targeted by card effects, and they can't be destroyed by battle, really making them stick to the field, because that's insanely hard to get rid of. You need the right combination of cards to get rid of that. And Albez the Ashen was hard to put on this list too, because it keeps coming back if one of your cards get destroyed when you have a level 8 in the field. I'm sorry, a level 8 in the graveyard. And it can keep coming back over and over again, having more and more attack. Also, if you have, I believe it's Rimbrum in the graveyard too, it can summon itself at will because its name is Fall of Albaz in the graveyard. And it basically becomes this recurring monster getting more and more attack, gaining 200 points for every monster in the graveyard, really becomes a menace. The only thing is, the Albaz has so many other cards right now that they're using. They don't even need to use Albaz, but I have been using it in different Dogmatica Ritual decks, and I've been having various degrees of success with it. So I just wanted to give these cards a highlight, as they do probably deserve a spot somewhere at this list, but they were very hard to put on this list. Now, without further ado, the number one card is, and before I tell you this, I just want to say, after this card I show you, I do have a riddle I want to share with you. But anyways, the number one card goes to Fairy Tale Snow. And probably a lot of you guys could have guessed that that was going to be the card. Because if this card is normal or special summoned, you could target a face-up monster on the field, turn it to face-down position. And during either player's turn, here comes the stickiness effect. Is if this card's in the graveyard, you can banish 7 cards from your hand, field, or graveyard and special summon it. So it keeps recurring itself that way. And what's cool is this is a quick effect rebirth effect, right? Book of Moon on legs. And it's also got the stats, the level 4 light spellcaster stats. All of those are very beneficial. Actually, the 1850 attack too is very strong as well. The only bad thing about this card is you need to banish 7 cards, mostly in the graveyard. You can also use your hand and field as well, but you're usually going to be banishing 7, and you need a lot of gas for that. But modern decks are probably milling about, they can even go upwards to about 21 cards that they just keep sending. Like these combo heavy decks can have 21 cards in the graveyard, which means you can use this effect 3 times and keep making it come back, come back, come back. Keep sticking to the field, and that's why this card takes the number 1 spot. Anyways, I said I had a riddle for you, and that riddle is, which card is literally the stickiest card? That's the riddle. Which card is the literally stickiest card? And by the way, if you like this video and you want more stats, normally I'm a very stats channel. I just wanted to have some fun this week. Come subscribe, join our Discord. And anyways, on to the riddle. What is the stickiest card? That goes to Humongous, the sticky string kaiju. because it literally has the word sticky in it, so it's technically the stickiest card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time.